Dr. Ebony Johnson, TPS Superintendent. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, whenever you have a president that gives the State of the Union, you've got a governor that gives the state of the state. What's the state of Tulsa Public Schools for you right now?
Super excited about Wednesday. We are heading back. The state of Tulsa Public Schools is that we have schools that will thrive this year. We have teachers that are preparing right now as we speak to welcome our young people. We're excited about some amazing things that we have accomplished and all the things that we're set to do in near future.
That's great. And not to hit you with a hard question right at the beginning, but we recently had the study come out that said Oklahoma was 50th in the country in education. What are your thoughts on that, and how often do parents, do staff come up and ask you about that, and how we address that?
Well, I haven't had a lot of folks come up and ask me about it that are parents, but I have had constituencies to just want to know, what exactly does this mean? You know, they hear about a lot of great things that are happening, not only in Tulsa Public Schools, but across our state with our districts. And they're like, well, if all these great things are happening, what's going on with that metric? And so what I would say to that is, you know, standardized assessments and tests are one thing, and then actually producing amazing young people who can thrive in post-secondary opportunities, who are able to excel throughout our setup in our district, and just being a student in Tulsa Public Schools. I'm a product of Tulsa Public Schools. We know that there's so many different metrics and measures that determine if a child is going to thrive and do great. And many, many years now we have seen that our students actually do that. They graduate from high school, they go on and do amazing things, not only here but across the nation. And so, having said that, I'll just say that it's definitely something that we need to take a look at. We got to figure things out together as a state, and we will. But I also think that it's important that we focus very much on the other outcomes that we all experience that show us and determine that our students are going to thrive and make it and be successful.
Now, on your message to parents over email before the school year started, you talked about the importance of attendance. For people and families who struggle with attendance, what do you think is the biggest barrier for them, and how does the district address that to help them?
Yeah, so based on our research and based on talking to families and just, you know, conducting surveys and just really trying to figure out what are the barriers, we've realized that there are several things that our families are in need of additional supports. Transportation becomes one of those, in that, you know, just making sure that our students are getting the appropriate level of transportation support, not only from our own transportation system, but our families who also use their vehicles, and just making sure there are no barriers there. In addition to that, we found that there are some families who struggle with social services needs, just making sure we help to close the gap there and getting them all of the resources that they need. There's some sidewalk situations and some safety concerns that parents have raised around their children walking to bus stops and just being safe because of stray dogs, or just a need to really just have a safe walking environment for their child. So we've seen in the data and just in conversation that there are several things that we can wrap our arms around and figure out what more we can do. There's been a raised need to understand health concerns, and just making sure our families know here are all the options that you have around getting supports for health that's beyond our school, just connecting them to community resources. That's not only physical health, but mental health supports and so forth. So just being very communicative about that with our families. But we are jumping full-fledged into this chronic absenteeism work. We've continued that work. We launched what's called Attend to Win as an initiative with our mayor, our former mayor and current mayor, around the need for the entire city to help us with this. We sit at about 44% chronically absent students, and so we know that this is truly an issue for us. One of the things that we've decided to do this year is, well, I'm going to say two things. One, we've decided that having a way that families can come up and get additional levels of conversation, support, resources, connecting them to all of the resources that they express that they need is going to be important once they hit a 16 absence day. In addition to that, we've decided that if you are an athlete or in extracurricular activities, we maybe have to sunset that so that we can get you back on track with coming to school. If you're a part of our magnet program, we want you to be close to a school. If you're struggling with attendance, we want you to be close to your home school so that you can actually do better with attendance. So we may have to change out on magnet. And then also, if you are in a grade level and you've missed 16, 17, 30, 40 days of school, then we may need to look at whether or not you've gotten all the skills that you need in that grade. So we're taking a strong stance with that, because we know that it's so very important that our young people are at school every day so that we can teach them so that they can learn.
And just a quick follow-up for context, you said you're at 44% chronic absenteeism.
That is
What number do
correct.
you want to get to?
Yeah, so ideally, we would love to, and we have to be realistic, but it would be nice if we would maybe sunset the year in the 30s. We are believing that we have a very lofty goal around this, and we believe that in collaboration with our families, we can decrease to a 30+% in this year. We've seen a lot of indication of supports that are coming through from various community agencies. We're partnering with, not only the city, but Impact Tulsa and others to say, hey, we're in this together. We can do this work. Let's figure out, let's disrupt this pattern. And so we're confident that we're going to head in that direction. And we are down from previous years. So we have seen a decrease in chronic absenteeism.
Now, TPS, like all the school districts in the state, are facing the new challenge of this new law of no cell phones, bell to bell. You guys have already dealt with that in some grade levels, but in high school, this is going to be something new. What's the challenge for implementing that?
Absolutely. Thank you for acknowledging that we jumped out there and tried that. And we actually were really successful on last year. We believe that, again, at our middle school, it'll be the same, where we have phones away for the day. In our high schools, it'll be a little different in that we also had phones away, but they had flexibility during lunch times or during some hallway time. It's going to be doubled down now for the high school that the phones have to be away for the entire day. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge for the change because our students are just so used to having their phones all the time, especially in the summer. So it'll be our principals and our school teams just reminding them of the protocol, the expectation. So we're prepared to do that. And then also making sure our families know that you can always reach your child. As a Tulsa public school person, when my mom needed to reach me, they would call the main office. There are phones there. There are, in the classrooms, there are phones set up in every single one of our classrooms in Tulsa public schools. And we also have intercoms and just all the things where students can still be reached. Many of our students, almost all of them, they will have devices, and so many of the times our families will email them in their email account and give them a message that way. So we will still have any opportunity for our families to reach their child in the event that they need to connect with them.
This is a state law, and of course you are, as TPS, part of a state school system here. There's been a lot of controversy this year out of this State Department of Education. How, as a district, how do you maybe try to avoid that controversy, but also do what's best for your students and also follow kind of the priorities that they have set at statewide?
Absolutely. I think one of the things that's critically important that I think all of our superintendents are understanding and keeping in mind is that school is either started for some of my superintendent colleagues or it's about to start. And so just staying very laser-like focused on teaching and learning, embracing our young people and families, realizing that we do have some questions we have to answer because teachers have questions and community members have questions about some of the changes and some of the recommendations that are coming out, and just making sure we're communicative about those things that they could raise as concerns. So for an example, we may have some families that wonder, is there going to be an issue with my child eating lunch because of what's been, what's come out from OSDE about lunches? And so we then communicate back and say, absolutely no concern. We actually have universal free lunch for every single one of our students in Tulsa Public Schools, and just making sure that we dispel and answer those questions as our families and community and teachers and support staff members have those questions.
How big of a deal is it for you guys as a district to be able to have that free lunch and free breakfast?
It's amazing. It's just one more thing that our families, partner with us and not have to be concerned about. We are just blessed to be a district that has been a part of this program for quite some time. So it's called the Community Eligibility Program that's put out by USDA. And as a result, we actually had elementary students who have been having this program for quite some time. We just added the last couple of years our 6th through 12th grade students, and so it's just it's a relief for our community to know that our students can come in, they can get the nutrients that they need, they don't have to stress about paying for lunch, and we know that when they have nutrition, they thrive in the classroom.
Now, speaking of community, I know that's very important. As a school district, you have this initiative, the One Team Ambassador, trying to get mentors for kids. What do you say to parents and families who have maybe been disconnected from the district a little bit, how to get them involved?
We want them to know that what we've realized and what we understand about education is we actually want and need them in our schools. we embrace our families. We're a partner in this. And so we know that when our young people, when they're in the buildings and they look over and they see a community member, they see a neighbor, they see their own parent there who's saying, I see you, go to class, this is great, you look great, you are great, you're doing well. It just completely transforms the learning environment. And so what we're going to say to them is that we have a place for you. You're either helping us at a basketball or a football game. We're in football season and we would love for you to come and be there and support us in that. You're helping us with our students who come in and we do our safety measures for our middle and high schools. You can help us greet our students through our safety measure approach. You can come in and help us during lunchtime when we have a lot of our young people up and moving. You can help us after school or before school. So there's a place for our volunteers to come in and be a part of our school community.
As we are going into the new school year, do you have a message for the parents, the families, even the staff, one message that you want them to share to them as we start school?
Absolutely. We are so very appreciative and proud that you have chosen Tulsa Public Schools as a place to work. We know that this is passion work for us. We are in this because we want to see our young people thrive and make it and be successful. So thank you for locking arms with me as your superintendent and all of our teams so that we can have an amazing 25-26 school year. Let's go get them.
All right, Dr. Ebony Johnson with Tulsa Public Schools, the superintendent. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.